They weren't lying. This is indeed a poo party. Growing up, I used to love Winnie the Pooh, specifically the 1977 Disney movie The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, comprised of all of the previously released short films.
I'm just a little black rain cloud.
I have seen some other Pooh media outside of these, but nothing really works its magic on me like the originals.
I'm the only one.
Now, there have been attempts to capture the same vibes. The 2011 Winnie the Pooh movie is probably the closest they've ever come to mimicking that same cozy feel, especially since it likewise adapts the A.A. Milne stories. But for me, it doesn't quite meet the mark.
Oh, bother.
In any case, the Winnie the Pooh franchise has many entries, and not only that, it has also inspired several video games, of varying quality. Until now, the only experience I had with a Pooh video game was the 100 Acre Wood in the Kingdom Hearts series. And if that's your experience too, honey, you don't know how good you've got it. Seriously, while the 100 Acre Wood is often cited as one of the weaker worlds in Kingdom Hearts, being as it is largely a collection of clunky minigames, it is a huge improvement on whatever the hell this is.
Get a room, you two!
Now, I know you're probably thinking, but Michael, this is clearly a game for toddlers. Surely you don't have the heart to criticize it. Bold of you to assume I have a heart. As soon as the game opens, we see the main cast, and Rabbit looks like he's being forced into this against his will.
Get me out of here!
You can choose between Pooh, Tigger, Owl, Rabbit, Piglet, and Roo. For most of the review, I'll be playing as Pooh, although I also recommend Owl, if only because of his gloriously girlish run. Hey! Chase me! The game begins at Rabbit's house, where it's apparent that Pooh has worn out his welcome.
Pooh, you've eaten all my honey, there's no more.
Tigger then shows up and inadvertently unveils Rabbit's secret drug den.
Ah, my pot!
Sorry, no, I couldn't resist. That's obviously not what's happening. I'll be good, I promise.
How about you and me going on over to...
Tigger, stop wriggling. You have my honey pot on your head.
Okay, maybe I'm a massive child, but come on, it can't just be me who thinks this dialogue sounds a little suggestive. You're not convincing me that the voice actors weren't sniggering under their breath when they first read these lines. Before long, Tigger is freed and gets a piece of paper stuck on his head.
It's a... treasure map!
A treasure map?
I'm calling it now, the treasure's gonna be honey, isn't it? I mean, what would they spend money on here? If they'd spend money on anything at all, it would be honey. One thing you may notice is that, stylistically and thematically, this game bears some resemblance to the Peter Pan PS1 game. It's not exactly surprising considering they have the same developers, but really, the transition effects and the music are incredibly similar. Not to mention that the plot revolves around a treasure map.
Don't mind me. I just stopped by to eat my lunch.
At this moment, Gopher appears, whose first name is Samuel, according to Disney Speedstorm. I wish I didn't know this, it ruins things. I don't know where this name originates from, but almost all the other characters are named after animals, like Piglet, Rabbit, etc. I don't know what a Pooh is, but still, why is Samuel here the only one with a normal name? It's weird, I don't like it.
Hey! What is this thing?
Anyway, Gopher, as we'll call him, manages to get the map stuck to him, at which moment the beehive falls. And he's chased by the bees. Okay, so this opens the first act of the game, and unless you have the manual, the game does not make it explicitly clear what to do. Once you get the hang of it, it's piss easy of course, but seriously, they don't explain anything. It's kinda like a board game, and each individual square does something different. The game shows Gopher running along the board, and our objective is to catch him. Judging by his breathing, he's about to go into cardiac arrest, which makes things easier for us, I guess. And this is what I mean when I say the game doesn't tell you things. As soon as Gopher reaches a particular square, it cuts to complete silence, and an entirely unrelated loading screen. Okie dokie? Suddenly we're playing Owl's Fruit and Hoot. No explanation or anything, it just happens. Alright, so the idea is that you play a minigame to move along the board, the objective being to score enough points to eventually catch up to Gopher. In this minigame, we need to collect some fruit and return it to our respective barrels. All the characters have their own coloured fruits to collect. In this case, I am Pooh, and I need to collect as many oranges as I can in the time limit. While Piglet collects green apples, and...
Who the f*** are you?
Okay, so this looks to be a woozle. You know, as in the heffalumps and variety. I don't know why he's here, but it seems they rudely decided to encroach on our vegetable patch.
We don't like your type around here.
I think this is a good time to address the, heffalump in the room, and by that I mean Eeyore and Kanga are totally absent from this game. Instead, it seems they've been replaced by the woozles, which is an interesting choice. I like to think there's some kind of sinister plot behind the scenes. Maybe the woozles have kidnapped them and are holding them hostage somewhere, subjecting them to unspeakable tortures. If this is the case, it ironically did them a favour, as I'm pretty sure the torture I'm being subjected to here is much worse.
Eeyore, buddy, you don't know how lucky you are. And considering your tendency to be depressed, I fear this may have tipped you over the edge.
Anyway, in easy mode, you need to be the first to collect 15 fruits. In normal mode you need 25, and in hard mode you need 40. You can also sabotage your opponents and make them slip up. Pressing the X button will make Pooh deposit his oversized throbbing banana.
Oh, come now! Stop smirking and grow up!
Really though, for some reason the banana skins gently pulsate like they're breathing. It's rather disturbing. If you win a minigame, you get to see your character do a stupid little dance. Winning a party game lets you move 6 spaces. If you finish second, you move 4 spaces. If you're third, you move 2, and if you're fourth, you move 1. You can also quit a minigame you don't want to play, and you will automatically move just 1 space. Oh, and the arrow makes this sound when you're about to move to a new square. And it gives me major Shrek Treasure Hunt PTSD flashbacks.
That's a memory I didn't want.
During these games, you also collect honey pots. And for every 10 pots you find, you're able to move an extra square if you so choose. The maximum number of extra squares you can move at one time is 3. Although interestingly, in easy mode, they don't seem to give you the option to exchange your honey pots for extra squares. Maybe they thought this would make it too complicated for younger players. But it does beg the question, why are you still collecting honey pots if you never actually use them? Now, you'll have noticed that many of the squares on the board contain various symbols. There's a key at the start of the game that explains most of these. The lightning bolt symbol is a penalty square, meaning some bad stuff will happen, like losing some honey or getting sent back some spaces.
Oh.
The honey pot rewards you with honey, while the broken honey pot means you lose some honey. Again, in easy mode, unless I'm mistaken, this doesn't seem to be of any consequence. The squares may as well be blank. The star squares reward you with random stuff, such as moving you along some extra squares and giving you even more honey. And sometimes you'll also land on an arrow that will permit access to a shortcut. Now and again, you might also land on a mystery circle, where presumably anything can happen. I tried to avoid these as much as possible though, as the few times I landed on them, I had my honey confiscated. Great, thanks. As such, I didn't care to find out what else these circles do.
It shall therefore remain a mystery!
Speaking of mysteries, the remaining squares on the board are snow, wind and bees, and for a while I didn't have a clue what they did. The key is of no help whatsoever here. It literally just says snow, wind and bees.
Thanks for that, very helpful.
On closer inspection, it seems they just alter the environment somehow. The bees will appear during the minigame and slow you down, while the wind blows you around a bit. Meanwhile, running on snow can also slow you down, and there are some occasions when ice poses an additional slip hazard. It's a nice idea, but these environmental changes don't really add much to the gameplay, as they're mostly very minimal.
Now we know what all the squares do, we're on a roll! Speaking of which...
Another game is Rabbit's Roller Racers, in which you just need to race some laps in a little cart. There are speed boosts that speed you up, and mud patches that slow you down. You'll also note that there are power-ups in each minigame that either help you or hinder your opponents. For example, here there's a speed boost power-up, and an out-of-control power-up that makes the leading vehicle temporarily lose control of their cart. I noted that in easy and normal mode, you don't have to activate these. The power-ups are triggered as soon as you collect them. While in hard mode, you need to press square to activate them manually. Personally, I think this is a little awkward to do when you're holding X to accelerate. I think I'd have found it easier to press circle or one of the L and R buttons, but whatever, I guess. Furthermore, in easy mode, the directional controls are different. Rather than steering the cart, you need to literally push the arrow in the direction you want to go. For example, here, if you want to go up, you have to push the up button, instead of steering the cart to the left. I can understand the logic behind this to accommodate younger players, but for me, this is a major mindfuck. Seriously, I find this harder to comprehend than actually steering the cart. Another aspect of this game that's particularly painful is the loading screens. They're not especially lengthy, but they are frequent. Every time you switch between the board and a minigame, the game has to load, and oh, does it kill the mood!
Granted, there's not much of a mood to kill, to be honest.
I don't really understand why they bothered with a progress bar here. As soon as it's done loading, the game then presents you with another loading screen. Yay!
In all honesty, you might want to embrace it. It's arguably more entertaining than what follows.
Allow me to introduce Tigger's Thunder and Frightening. This is actually pretty similar to Bomberman. But like I said, they don't explain things very well, so it took me a while to realise what was happening. The idea is to place your Thunderbox somewhere, and when it explodes, it creates a path. You need to get away from its line of fire or you'll lose a heart, and how many hearts you have depends on the difficulty level. Get hit too often and you'll be blown to smithereens.
Beware my thunderous box and my throbbing banana.
The objective is to take out your opponents, and the surviving character is the winner. Wow, this feels a little violent for Winnie the Pooh, but okay.
You've heard of the 100 Years' War? Well, this is the 100 Acre War. Death to woozles!
I strongly dislike this minigame, especially in hard mode. You only have one heart, and the AI is just ridiculous. Your opponents are near enough impossible to beat. Eventually we catch up to Gopher, who seems rather miffed at having been caught for some reason.
Oh, well, alright then. I won't help you, you ungrateful shit.
I also love the fact that we eagerly retrieve the map, but nobody gives a toss about Gopher being chased by a swarm of bees. Sorry pal, you weren't in the books, so I guess we don't have to care about you.
I have the map!
Anyway, Tigger is briefly knocked out in the ensuing chaos.
The treasure is here!
Just as Rabbit is about to locate the treasure, a heffalump emerges.
A heffalump?
This kicks off the second act, in which the idea is to keep ahead of the heffalump. Chase me! Hey, you remember that adorable pink heffalump, Lumpy?
I'm a heffalump.
Well, this heffalump ain't quite so adorable.
Kill it with fire!
Yeah, no, this is horrifying. Why is it looking up like that? That's just unsettling. It looks possessed.
To hell with those crappy Winnie the Pooh horror movies. This nightmare is the real deal.
The idea with this act is simply to keep ahead of the heffalump. With pleasure. And we can do this by playing the exact same boring-ass minigames over and over again. Out of curiosity, I decided to see what happens if you lose. And he just pathetically trumpets at you.
That's what I call very little fanfare.
Another minigame is Pooh's Pinball Party, in which Pooh has created a fun game in which you need to paddle each other's balls. It's not really pinball, it's more akin to a game of table hockey. Either way, it's very boring. You simply move side to side to defend your goal, but you can also press X to trigger a super bump to bump the ball with more force. A bunch of power-ups also appear on the table, and they activate when your ball passes through them. These can change the size of your paddle, increase the number of balls, and alter the speed of the ball. Although, if I'm honest, I usually activated these power-ups by pure chance. I was too focused on, well, you know, paddling my balls. I mostly found myself waiting for the balls to roll my way before I could do anything. It's not the most reliable game if you want a guaranteed win. And they make such weird noises too. Not my balls, of course, I mean the party friends. They never shut up.
They're clearly excited about something, but there's f*** all happening.
Yeah, everyone seems a little too happy in this game. Meanwhile, Rabbit looks like he's on a major come down.
Alright guys, I think it's about time we lay off Rabbit's special vegetables, if you catch my drift.
My pot!
There's also Piglet's Pumpkin Hunt, a pumpkin picking game. Which is obviously totally different to Owl's fruit collecting game.
Totally different.
Here you need to be the first to collect a set number of pumpkins, which alters depending on the difficulty level. You press X to pick a pumpkin and to bump your opponents. This sounds easy enough, but it's absolute chaos in hard mode. The other opponents are just so goddamn rude. Pick your own pumpkins.
I never thought I'd describe a pumpkin picking game as absolute chaos, but here we are.
This raises another point. Considering the target audience, hard mode feels a little too challenging to me. The AI is sometimes impenetrable. These guys really take pumpkin picking very seriously. That's actually all of the minigames. Really, the game is just these 5 minigames repeated on a constant loop. By the way, selecting the quick play feature in the main menu allows you to play any one of the minigames of your choice. Although why you'd want to is beyond me. I swear to God, I am so sick of picking fruit.
For the last frigging time, Owl, I don't give a hoot about your fruit.
And of course, you can also play these minigames in multiplayer mode.
You know, if you hate your friends and want to punish them.
Eventually, we escape the heffalump and wind up outside a cavern, the entrance to which is shaped like a skull.
A skull?
Well, that's rather ominous. This is getting rather dark for a Winnie the Pooh game.
Hang on a minute, a big cave in the shape of a skull? This sounds familiar.
Yes, here we have yet another similarity with Peter Pan. Really, did the developers just lazily use the same notes to develop 2 different games? In all honesty, I think this is actually a coincidence. Rather, I think this game, and specifically this location, derives inspiration from the 1997 straight-to-video movie, Pooh's Grand Adventure. To corroborate this, if you play the multiplayer mode, you're rewarded with scenes from this movie, which is pretty cool, albeit a little random. Oh, and by the way, I actually recorded the entire multiplayer mode with just 1 player. Me. Yeah, nobody wanted to join me for this one.
And I don't blame them.
Anyway, the friends then navigate the cavern in pursuance of the treasure.
Inside lies the treasure.
The treasure is apparently in the cavern somewhere, which completely contradicts Rabbit's earlier statement that the treasure was somewhere else entirely.
The treasure is here.
Really, how can a game with a plot this simple have a plot hole?
Sorry to interrupt, but this here cavern is collapsing.
This opens the 3rd act of the game, which sees you having to move along the board quickly before the cavern caves in. You know, I'm actually curious to know what happens if we fail. Like, do we die? Do Pooh and his friends get crushed under a pile of rocks?
Some party this is!
Again, out of curiosity, I decided to see what happens. And if you're too slow, the path collapses, leading to everyone's horribly grisly death. Well, okay, not quite. They just wind up falling out of the cavern.
Yeah, it's very underwhelming, but, are you surprised?
Either way, it's so bizarre how jarring this is. Seriously, this feels like such a dramatic set piece for a party game. The urgency of having to escape a collapsing cave juxtaposed with boring fruit-picking games is really weird. Based on the backgrounds, the minigames themselves clearly take place within the cavern too, which just raises more questions. Guys, why are we doing this? Why are we planting explosive boxes in a cave that's already collapsing? Surely this is just asking for trouble. Eventually, we find the treasure chest.
Yee-haw! We found the treasure!
Perhaps we should open the chest and see what's in it.
Yeah, that might be a good idea, mate. That's kind of the point of the game. I didn't come all this way and risk death just to stare at a wooden box.
Of course, the treasure turns out to be honey.
A treasure chest filled with the best treasure of all.
What did I tell you, see? Called it.
This ending is rather odd to me, actually. Surely the fact that we've been collecting honeypots throughout the entire game devalues the prize. But oh, it gets worse. You remember when the disappointing treasure at the end of the Peter Pan game turned out to be just a feather? Well, believe it or not, the treasure in this game is even more underwhelming. Not only is the treasure merely honey, but it all turns out to be just a dream.
And so we leave Pooh and Rabbit, knowing it was all just a dream. Pooh's wonderful dream. For one could only have this...
Wait, hold up. There's a narrator now? Where'd he come from?
Really, the narrator doesn't appear until the very end of the game. It just feels so out of the blue. Perhaps the developers realized it had a very lackluster ending, and it needed something to give it a more conclusive tone.
For one could only have this type of remarkable dream in a remarkable place. A place called the 100 Acre Wood.
Dream endings are generally disappointing anyway, but one thing that really bothers me about this ending is that it doesn't even have to be a dream. I know the treasure was predictable, but it would actually feel much more rewarding if Pooh had genuinely found a treasure chest full of honey.
Hell, I'd settle for a feather. Anything.
I remember feeling the same way about the ending to Sheep, Dog and Wolf. It's based on a cartoon. Anything can happen. Why does the whole game have to be a dream? It's just lazy and ruins the experience retroactively. Not that this experience was all that great to begin with.
They've ruined a perfectly terrible game.
Now, I know this is a kid's game from the PS1 era, but that doesn't excuse the fact that it's simply not very good. The mini-games are fairly insipid, not to mention repetitive. The game itself is thankfully very short, but even in spite of this, you're forced to endure the same banal mini-games over and over again. It's just not interesting. The loading screens are a major drag, and the ending is so crushingly disappointing. Sure, I'm not the target audience, but I can't even imagine kids would enjoy this. That's assuming they can comprehend what the game's all about in the first place, what with its lack of clear instructions. Parenthetically, I find it amusing that in all of these so-called treasure hunting games, it seems you rarely actually hunt for treasure, just menial things like feathers, picnic items, and imaginary honey. Overall, it's a sluggish slog to get through, and despite its copious amounts of honey, it's not particularly sweet.
But of course this means the real treasure is Rabbit's special vegetable stash.
My pot!
Party on!
Hey everyone! I feel this was a long time coming, which is kind of ironic as it's much smaller in scale compared to the Simpsons game and Kingdom Hearts videos. Aside from a bunch of other commitments, I'll admit it was very difficult to get enthused about this one. It's honestly a major come down after working on what I deem to be some of the best videos I've made for the channel. I mean, I guess I could have made this video longer, but would you really have wanted that? Really? Anyway, thanks as usual to my patrons. Dragon Dog, Alex C, Hev McKnight, Upside Clown, Anthony Gallagher, 3Spooky5Me, Volico72, and Matthew Shaw. Thanks also to my free patrons, Gabe Owners, Yusuf Samuel, Alex, Samantha Thorngate, Mike Santana, Dinosaur Bites, Jennifer Erzin, Jeremy Miller, Yukanai Yuko, Alma Elma, Kira Flameheart, D Snuts, Hannah Kingdon, Domino Shields, Dennis, GamerKid96, and Mood Faik. And an extra special thanks to my channel members, Jeremy Miller, Jenny Fox, Reunion, and 3Spooky5Me. Thanks for everything as usual, guys. Bye-bye for now. What are you guys doing here? The video's over, you sillies.